All rise. Pouvez-vous lever? Please be seated. Pouvez-vous asseoir?
We are in open session, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. Mr. Hooper, please continue. Witness, welcome back. Mr. Hooper? Document is admitted as the next in the Ruto defense exhibits.
Mr. President, document KenyaMOJA.com 01410026 will be attributed reference EVD T D09 00267. This document is confidential. It's not already uploaded in the e-court system, and it needs to be provided for upload at the earliest convenience. Thank you.
Mr. Hooper, that was a message to you. So you will provide it to the court's registry to upload in the system.
Certainly, thank you. Mr. Witness, we're still in public, and I'm content to remain in public. And if you could turn to your statement, I just want to go through several paragraphs in your statement. And we've dealt with issues relating to paragraphs 20. I'm moving on to paragraph 31, where, and if you can have that and see that paragraph 31, you'll see that it's headed meeting at Ruto's place, and just to, and it continues up to, over the page, to paragraph 34. And you've told us that you did hear of, you did say that you did not attend, and you say in the second line of second sentence of paragraph 31, quote, well, let me read it from the beginning. In 2007, as part of his campaign, Ruto called 3 meetings at his compound in the old part of the Kosache area, which I've marked. The meetings were on 3 consecutive days and were for the youth, the women and the elders. I attended the meeting for the youth. I don't remember the dates. It was between September and November 2007, and you go on about that. Unquote. Now, you've told us that you said that, but you didn't attend that meeting. Is that correct?
Answer, that's correct. I did not attend that meeting.
Now, you say that what you heard was that there were 3 meetings for those particular groups on consecutive days. May I suggest that the meetings were not on consecutive days, but on consecutive months? What do you say to that?
Answer. Myself,
Mimi sikumbuki.
I no longer recall.
Yes, very well. I just wondered if you can help. In fact, let me be more. I may have misspoken there. Let me just say, the women's meeting, we would say, was on the 14th of November, and we've seen a video of that. Just for context, I don't need to call it up. KND090036-0065 was played to the court on an early occasion of a women's meeting. There was a youth meeting. Again, this is asserted by the defence on the 23rd of November of 2007, and that was a video, again, EVD TD09-00247. The court may recall seeing that. We saw it. It was a large body of people, a cavalcade leading down into Eldoret town, and the submission of nomination papers. Now, witness, just dealing with the youth meeting, now, I know you say you didn't attend it. Does that ring a bell? There was a big meeting of youths that then formed a cavalcade that went from Mr. Ruto's Sugoi home down to Eldoret, where nomination papers, as standing as Member of Parliament for North Eldoret, were submitted. Does that ring a bell with you?
Answer. Well, myself, I did not attend that meeting.
All right. All right. Well, I think that's as far as I can take it with you. And I think I've misspoken again. The women's meeting was in October, and I'm unclear of the date. And a separate elders meeting, again, at some time apart. All right. Well, that's maybe not a particularly significant point. Let's go to your next headed series of paragraphs is paragraph 35 onwards, which is the meeting at Farouk Kibbet's home, and we can see that extends to paragraph 45. So 10 paragraphs, and if you just look at that, just pass your eye over it to bring it back to your memory. And again, we understand what you say there. But what we see there at paragraph 35 is on the fourth line there. It starts at the time of the meeting. Right? I'm not going to read all the words out because we're in public session, but it reads, at the time of that meeting, I was still in the ODM. Number 3 from the first organisation called me one day and told me that there would be a meeting at Farouk's place and that I should attend it because it was taking place in my area. He asked me if I knew where Farouk's house was, and I said yes. He did not know exactly when the meeting was supposed to be. He asked me to find out, to go there, to get a clue of what was happening, and to, you can see how it ends, to do something for an organisation. So you said that. And then at paragraph 37, on the day of the meeting in the morning, I phoned number 3, tell him I was going, etc. Now, looking at that, can we just, as it were, remind us of what you said earlier? That is to say, you were never a member of that organisation, nor at that time were you in contact with number 3. Is that right?
Unaweza kubalia mimi ni explain hapo kidogo.
Answer. Could you allow me to explain myself somewhat?
Can, but it's a straightforward question. Let me put it to you again. Is it correct to say that that is untrue and you were not at that time in either contact with number 3 nor were you a member at any time of that organisation? Is that correct?
Mambo haya si kweli.
Answer. That information is not correct.
All right. At paragraph 44, you refer there to hearing from someone that youths were going to Ziwa, to the house of a certain Missouri for training. This is post-election violence, training. Is that true? Did you hear of that, or is it untrue?
Ni ya uongo, nilikuwa nimesema unipatie muda.
Answer. That information is false. I asked you to give me some time so I could explain things to you.
Please do. Please explain things to us.
While you do that, witness, we are in
Kwa
public
uchache, nasema kwa
session.
uchache.
The witness, I would like to briefly explain myself.
And what I just said, I say you can do that, but keep in mind that we are in the public session.
Ndio, Bwana President.
Answer. Yes, I understand, Your Honor.
Mambo haya ambayo yako kwa
That information found in this report from paragraph 35 on that information is not correct because that person who was mentioned here at paragraph 35, it says here that I went to his home. That's not so, because that person does not live in that area mentioned here. So that person lives somewhat in a location that is to be found before the location mentioned here. And it's not mentioned, that place I can tell you about. So this information came from person number 3, and I don't know why. Because what you just read out, Council, paragraph 44, which mentions the place that the people were going to. If you read that paragraph carefully, the place where they were going to, you will see that initially I stated, line 5, and I can still, this person number 3 who reappears, he is the one who knows about it because it's his statement, and he needs to complete that statement. He asked me to corroborate that information because if I had had the time to read the whole statement of number 3, you will see that he gave all that information so that it would match what I was going to say. So it would be close to the truth, but generally speaking, so that it would look like the truth. But generally speaking, all this information is not true.
Right, well, thank you for that, and that's very helpful. Incidentally, dealing with the home of Farouk Kibet, who's mentioned there, do you know which province he lives in?
Naweza taja?
Answer. Do you want me to give the name of the province?
If you know the province where he lives.
Ni Rift Valley? Eldoret North?
Answer. Rift Valley, Eldoret North.
Thank you. Now, if I can come down to paragraph 46, and you talk there of the next meeting taking place in location 5. Location 5. And on the 20th of November, with Ruto arriving by helicopter. Do you remember telling us about that? And you telling us you didn't go yourself, but you spoke to a friend afterwards. Do you remember saying that?
Hiyo haya ya 46.
Answer. Paragraph 46. That is true, but I'm not entirely sure about the date.
And that's right. And you say that I didn't go to this meeting. And paragraph 47, you say I met some of my friends, like, and you name one person, and then you name a second person in that sentence. And in your evidence you said, I didn't meet the second person, I just spoke to the first named person in that paragraph. Is that correct?
Ni uongo.
Answer. That is false.
on the PIS. Is that the same? Are they the same persons?
Yes, they're 6 and 7 on the PIS. But witness, you have that in mind. Let me read the sentence, as it were, in a redacted way. I met some of my friends, like number 6 and number 7, the same evening in Turbo Centre, and they told me about what happened in the meeting. Now, just you say that's incorrect, and can you just briefly explain what is incorrect?
Si kweli sababu.
Answer. It is not correct for the simple reason that because it is not true.
Sita namba 7.
For the simple reason that people 6 and 7 those are names that were just put there on that list, and I told you that I met person number 1 and person number 3. They are the ones who invented this story. They are the ones who provided this account.
Now, in terms of number 7, do you know where number 7 was living in December 2007, January 2008? Do you know where he was living?
Ukweli ni kwamba huyu mtu simjui.
I do not know that person, and I'm telling you the truth.
All right, so you do not know the person who goes by the name of number 7. Is that correct?
Sifahamu mtu huyu. Huyu mtu alitoka.
I do not know that person. It is person number 3 who provided that name, but I do not know the person.
All right, now we see at paragraph 49, so we're coming up now to the
Ndio. Sababu mimi.
Yes. I did not know the OTP. It was person number 3 who knew about the OTP, and at that time I only knew person number 3.
Now, looking at this screening note, if you look at the bottom paragraph of that page 1082, they record you as telling them that one of the meetings that took place was on the 28th or 29th of December.
Beg your pardon, Your Honours. My learned friend should read the previous sentence to you to place it in context.
I'll read it. Yes, I will. Let me read it, this paragraph. Now, this is a note these investigators have made of something you said to them on that first contact over the telephone on the 9th of November. And they say, P516, that's you, attended several meetings where the PEV was discussed. One of them took place shortly after the announcement of the election results, which was on the 28th to 29th of December 2007. The meeting was at 8 p.m. in location 5. There were many people present, warriors. Right, coming to the...
Mr. Hooper, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
For the record, we are in open session.
Thank you. So, but you may now proceed.
Thank you very much. Dealing with paragraph 56, we're first day at a place, and then we go from paragraph 61, second day, a lot of generalities perhaps, and then we come down to paragraph 73, someone's house incident. Then we've got third day from paragraph 78, fourth day there, paragraph 91, fifth day, and this, of course, all going on during the post-election violence. Sixth day, still there, you're staying there, you say, overnight, etc. Now, I know you've said, I wasn't there, I was somewhere else. We're just looking at your statement. And all this comes to a conclusion, and so does this violence, on the sixth day there, from paragraph 109. And we go to paragraph 111, and here we have what you say. We can read it. Paragraph 111. You have a look at that. The OCPP, that's the officer commanding police post, started getting annoyed. His men started shooting. They shot a young 15-year-old boy who was looting the houses near the river. You say you heard gunshots. You didn't see the shooting. It goes on, I ran in that direction and I saw the boy. He was crying in pain. The police took out their car and instructed some people, including, you name someone, who happened to be around, to take the boy to the hospital in Wabui. The boy passed out before he reached the hospital. I heard he was shot by a policeman called Coleman. I heard that some people were searching for Coleman to kill him. From then on, you say, paragraph 113, from then on there was sadness. The boy was shot, the elders were frightened. A bit further down, the boy was Nandi. And again, that night I slept at that place. Then we get to 114 paragraph. The day after the boy was shot, all people went to the killed boy's home. We were preparing the compound for the burial and helping the family. And we stayed there, giving condolences to the family until the night. Someone comes, in 116 you say, the warriors and elders slept at the compound of the killed boy. I slept there too. And it goes on over the page. 117. People were just talking about how this thing had caused us tragedy. I stayed there until the evening. The violence had stopped. Every parent started refusing that their children take part. People advised their children to leave the war. You say you walked home, talked to your wife, and you spent the night there. And then you say, paragraph 119, the burial of the boy took place on the 4th day after he was killed. There was not much left to be discussed at a certain place. Meetings went on. There was burning going on still. And you say the violence continued for about a month. From time to time, there were problems. So there we've got it, all very tightly knit in to the death of that boy. Now, do you know the name of the boy who was killed? Or let me put another question to you, Mr. Witness. Sorry to talk over. Perhaps I jumped the gun. Just let me ask this question. Is that true? And in particular, on what date was that boy shot? Do you know?
Mr. President, naomba private session.
Mr. President, I would like to request a private session.
Private session it will be. And Mr. Hooper, you have 5 minutes left.
I've been given an extra 10 by Ms. Bisman. So with that in mind, I'm being quite as quick as I can. We're in private session, I hope.
Mr. Steinberg, how many minutes do you say you need?
There's just one additional topic since I last spoke, so approximately 7 minutes.
7 minutes we have to be minus whatever time's left for the Ruto defense. So we take that out of the 7 minutes from that. So if I've yielded 10 minutes to you, let's go to private session.
We are in open session, Mr. President.
Good afternoon, witness. Do you hear me?
Nakusikia.
Answer yes, I can hear you.
Witness, I'm here to ask you some questions on behalf of the Sang defense team. And let me ask you, first of all, you told us on multiple occasions throughout your testimony that you came here to tell the truth. Do you recall that?
Ndio, na nika hapa.
And you have admitted to lying.
Overlapping speakers. The witness. Yes, I remember that, and I swore an oath.
Indeed, you're here under oath, and you've admitted to lies in your statement, which was not taken under oath. But now you're under oath here, you are speaking the truth. That's right, isn't it?
Ndio.
Answer yes, that's right.
And there were a number of occasions where your answer did not correspond to the one exactly asked by the prosecution. But if that was the case, this was because you didn't understand the question, as you have pointed out also on numerous occasions. It's not because they were not truthful. That's right, isn't it?
No. Ms. Bousman, you have to ask another question. That's very argumentative. You can argue that at the end of the day. But if you want to ask a question and put it...
I'll move on.
Yes.
One last question. It's important, very important to all of us here in this courtroom, that also throughout my questions, you carry on telling the truth. And if you agree, I'm going to put certain propositions to you. I'm going to ask you certain questions. You only agree with them if you agree with them and not because you think that's what I want to hear. Is that understood?
Rudia hapo tena kidogo, sijasikia mzuri.
Answer. Please ask the question again. I haven't understood.
I just want to make sure that you carry on as you've been doing in speaking the truth. And if I put certain propositions to you, you will agree with them only if you agree with them because they're correct and not because you want to say what I want to hear. Is that clear?
Ndio.
Yes.
Thank you. So let's start at the core of your testimony, which is important for us, and that is your knowledge about Joshua Arab Sang's radio program on KAS-FM. And first of all, I would like you to clarify an issue, because 2 days ago, when Mr. Steinberg, on the side of the prosecution, asked you about Mr. Sang, there are two answers that appear different. So I want you to explain to me what is the correct version. Initially, and I quote from the transcript 24th of September 2014, page 4, lines 2 to 6. This is for the parties, not for you, Mr. Witness. But this is what you said. You said sometimes I could listen to KAS-FM radio, but I never followed the programs presented by Mr. Sang, who usually presented political programs. Sometimes I tuned to that radio station and I listened to some programs, but not the programs presented by Mr. Sang. You recall that, Mr. Witness?
Ndio.
Answer. Yes.
And when you were asked a follow-up question, if you ever had occasion to listen to Mr. Sang's programs in late 2007 or early 2008, you answered, and again I quote you, this is again the same transcript, 24th of September 2014, lines 14 and 15 at page 4, you say, no, I usually listened to the programs of Citizen Radio, not KAS-FM. Do you recall saying that, Mr. Witness?
Ndivyo nasema.
Answer. Yes, I said that.
And is it true?
Unifafanue mzuri, ukweli yenye niliandika ama ukweli?
Answer. Please explain to me the truth in relation to what I said or in relation to your question.
Well, I'll ask you a follow-up because it's in relation to what you said. But if you don't understand, I'll ask you a follow-up question.
Right, Ms. Bausman, again, if I misunderstood it, the prosecutor will correct me, and then you'll see whether you really need to pursue that line of questioning. I thought the prosecutor that asked the witness a clarifying question, asking, is it the case that you may be tuning in to
Mr.
another...
President, sorry. So I'm sorry. But I know where you're going, and I'll just move on to that question. Is that...
Yeah, yes, okay.
Mr. Witness, later on, the prosecution asked you another question, and this is at page 5, lines 14 to 16. He asked you whether he understood you correctly to have said that, I quote, while tuning into other programs, you may have come across Mr. Sang's show and listened to it casually. And he asked you, is that correct? So he put that to you, and you said yes. Now I want you to clarify for us, is that true? Did you hear Mr. Sang's show and you listened to it casually, or was that a misunderstanding of the question, and did you mean that you came across...
Objection, Your Honour. I really object to my learned friend putting the words in this witness's mouth. He's been asked to clarify it. I submit he should be allowed to do so if necessary.
If I may, this is cross-examination. I can put propositions to this witness. And I said the first one and now the second. I just want him to clarify. But let's not go into debate. Mr. Witness, did you hear that?
What's the question again?
Mr. Witness, I'll ask it again. At page 5, lines 14 to 16 of the same transcript, the prosecution put to you, where he asked you if he understood you to have said that while tuning into other programs, you may have come across Mr. Sang's show and listened to it casually. Then he asked if that was correct, and you said yes. And I want to see, because
don't tell him why you want to ask a question.
Do you recall that?
All right, witness, Ms. Bausman's question is this. Are you listening to me?
Dear Mr. President.
Question.
Yes.
The prosecutor was asking you questions. He had asked you at some point, is it the case that although you may not be usually listening to Mr. Sang's program deliberately, but it may be the case that while tuning into another radio station, you may happen upon Mr. Sang's program and listen casually, as opposed to tuning in to listen to Mr. Sang deliberately. But you may accidentally happen onto Mr. Sang and listen to it casually, and your answer was yes. Mr. Bausman is saying, do you recall testifying in that manner?
Nakumbuka, Mr. President.
I remember that, Your Honor.
So you heard him casually from... That's right, is it?
Ndivyo.
Yes, that is correct.
But as you also said, you were not really concentrated on these programs. That's right, is it not?
Ndivyo.
Yes.
So, witness, you have no specific details about who Mr. Sang's program, who was invited in Mr. Sang's program. Is that right? You do not know that, do you?
Ndivyo.
That is correct.
And you do not know who Mr. Sang was supporting, do you?
Ndivyo.
That is correct.
Mr. Witness, you also said that the reason you did not regularly listen to KSFM is that you like to speak in Swahili rather than your mother tongue, which is Nandi. Is that correct?
Ndio, nikasema pia watoto yangu hata.
Yes. I also said that even my children did not speak Nandi, even though I myself am a Nandi.
My Kenyan colleagues here tell me that your Swahili is of very high standing. Am I right to think you prefer to speak Swahili than Nandi?
Sana.
Yes, that is very true.
Witness, can you recall if you ever heard any peace messages from KSFM?
Hapana.
No.
Nasema nilikuwa napenda Citizen sana.
I did not listen to CAS FM. I have already said that I usually listen to Citizen Radio.
Right, thank you, witness. Then I move on to another topic. You, with my learned colleague, you already, from the Ruto defense, he's already asked you about a certain email that was sent by person number 3 to the prosecution. And for the record, this is EVD T00-90267. You remember speaking of that email, do you?
Sijakuelewa sana, madam.
I did not understand your question, counsel.
I was going to ask you a follow-up question on an email that you have already been asked about by my learned colleague, Mr. Hoopa, on the Ruto defense. And I'll give you some details. This was an email that was sent out by person number 3 to the prosecution. Do you recall having had that conversation with Mr. Hoopa just now?
Ndio.
Yes.
One thing I wanted to clarify with you, because in this email, person number 3, states that you contacted him. And that's when he contacted the prosecution. And my understanding from your testimony is that you got in contact with number 3 through person number 1. Is that right?
Mtu ya kwanza ndiye alinionyesha namba 3.
It was person number 1 who introduced me to number 3.
Do you recall when you had the conversation with number 1 and number 3, whether you...
Very in open session, Mr. President.
Witness, we know you lied about the location where you lived. You already confirmed to Mr. Rupa that had the prosecution gone to that location, number 1, they would have learned you were not there. That's right, is it not?
Kama wangekuja wangenipata pale.
If they had gone there, they would not have found me at location number 1.
But knowing they would have found out your lies, you still felt safe to make these lies because you received a guarantee from persons number 1 and 3 that they wouldn't come near your region. In your words, that they were very far away. You told us that 2 days ago. That's right, is it not?
Ndivyo.
Yes.
You also told us that person number 6, that well, you initially stated one thing in your statement, paragraph 47, but you said in court that you never told number 6 never told you that some people were yelling out, asking whether if someone was found to vote not for the ODM, they should kill him, and that Ruto said that when the time reaches, he would tell the people what to do. This is something we find in your statement when you said it was number 6 telling you that, but in court you told us that that was not true. Number 6 never told you that. That's right, is it not?
Hebu fafanua mzuri. Sikuelewi.
Please explain better. I don't understand you.
You know person number 6. You know him, do you not?
Najua mtu namba 6, lakini
I know person number 6. But I do not know person number 7.
It's about number 6. In your perception, because you told the prosecution initially that number 6 told you a number of things.
Samahani, ngoja kidogo.
Just a moment, please, says the witness.
Unaweza kunipatia ruhusa niongee mtu namba 6?
Would you allow me to talk to you about person number 6?
Witness, listen to the lawyer's question, try to understand it, and then just answer that question very briefly, because she doesn't have a lot of time left. So let's not have you explaining something else he hasn't asked you to do. Just, Ms. Bousman, can you put your question again?
You said in your testimony that what you had said in your statement about what number 6 told you is untrue. Is that right?
Behavior.
Yes.
And if the prosecution, have you thought about the prosecution approaching number 6 and verifying that information? Would, in your perception, would number 6 have told the prosecution that what you said he said was not true?
Nimesema kwa ripoti yangu namba 6.
This is what I said. The person who gave me that name is person number 3. You know that during the meeting they mentioned person number 6 as having taken part in that meeting. I mentioned this person, but I did not know him. The person that I knew was number 3. That is what I said in my statement.
Okay. I'll move on to another issue. You drew a GSU station at Turbo Center, which in fact, you told us, does not exist. Is that correct?
Livia.
Yes.
And again, do you agree, had the prosecution gone there, they would have easily discovered that that station did not exist?
Wakati nilipoandika statement,
when I gave my statement, the conflict was over, and these are things that I was told to say, so I did not think that people were going to go there to investigate. I did not reveal my place of residence.
Thank you. One last question.
We have to leave it there. The prosecutor will need to do the re-examination. We will need to leave it there.
All right, thank you, witness.
Witness, that is the end of the examination from the Sang defense lawyer, Ms. Bousman, and the prosecutor will have 7 minutes, it's now 6, to ask you a few more questions, then that will be it for the day.
Thank you, Your Honours.
Mr. President, please.
If you want to say something, please do it quickly.
Yeah. Unaweza ruhusu mimi nitoke nje kidogo tafadhali?
Can I have a moment to step out of the courtroom, please?
All right, we will. Can you make it quick, Mr. Ma? You can escort the witness quickly and then come back. Do not discuss anything with anybody witness while you're gone.
Perhaps I can take the opportunity to seek to admit the document, which is the condolence book. I say condolence book, the copies. We will make the original available to the prosecution. It's in Kenya, the book. We're having it brought here. And it's KEN D09-0040-0005, recognised as signed by the witness. Ask for it to be entered into evidence.
Mr. Steinberg?
Your Honours, subject to my learned friend allowing the prosecution to examine the original, the witness has identified it. We don't necessarily make any admissions, but we don't object to the admission into evidence.
Ms. Boutman?
No objection.
Document admitted as the next Ruto defense exhibit.
Mr. President, document KEN D09-0040-0005, confidential document, will be attributed reference EVDT D09-00268, exhibit number 268, for the defense of Mr. Ruto.
Thank you very much. All right. The request from the registry is everybody must remain absolutely silent while they switch the tape. All right, we're back on. Mr. Felipe said he didn't mean for people to stop breathing while that was happening. Mr. Steinberg, please proceed.
Thank you, Your Honours. Mr. Witness, if you'll please try to listen carefully to my questions and answer only my questions, we will finish with you today. Understand?
Nakuelewa.
I understand you.
You told my learned friend for Mr. Ruto that when you were giving your interview, you consulted a notebook that included certain diagrams or sketch plans that person number 3 had drawn for you. Did those diagrams include the sketch of person number 12's compound that you reproduced for the investigators?
Ndivyo alivyosema nikachora.
Yes. When they asked me, I drew the sketch.
And when you drew the sketch, were you referring to the sketch in your notepad that person number 3 had drawn?
La, nilikuwa nimeshika kwa akili yangu.
No, I had memorized it.
Why had you memorized it if it was in your notebook, sir?
Kwa sababu nilikuwa naenda kuhojiwa na singe.
Because I was going to be interviewed, so I was not supposed to use my notebook.
Why did you bring your notebook with you if you were not supposed to use it to the interview?
Nimesema kwa statement hiyo notebook ilikuwa.
In my statement, I said that that notebook even contained my secret or private information. So I was not writing in that notebook only because questions were going to be asked of me. I wrote my private matters in the notebook also.
Now, please listen to the question. You said that you memorized the sketch because you were going to be interviewed and you were not supposed to use your notebook. My question is, why did you then bring your notebook with you to the interview if you were not supposed to use it?
Investigators wako nikatasha na bebe notebook kwa hiyo.
The investigators did not prevent me from bringing my notebook. I also had other items with me, not only the notebook. So whatever I was doing, I didn't look at the notebook. I kept my items aside, and the investigators did not have any problem with the notebook.
Are you saying that when you were giving your interview, you did not look at your notebook? Is that what you're saying?
Sikuiangalia, wananiuliza.
I did not look at it. They simply asked me, what is the purpose of that notebook? What is it doing here? And I told them it was for my personal needs. They left it at that. They didn't ask any further questions. They asked me, is there anything that you are going to tell us that is in that notebook? And I simply told them, no, the notebook belongs to me. I could not tell them all the secrets that were in my notebook.
You see, your statement records, or the investigators record in the statement, that you referred to your notebook. Isn't that right?
Sikumbuki.
Answer, I no longer remember.
See, I put to you that when I questioned you on Thursday and Friday about what had happened during your meeting with with persons 1 and 3, you made no mention about recording the details of what they told you in a notebook. And I put to you that you're making your evidence up as you go along.
I think that can be argued. It doesn't expect an answer from the witness to that question, Mr. Steinbach. You don't expect him to agree to that.
I would expect him to dispute it, so I will take that as read and move along. Mr. Witness, let me move on to something else. In relation to the meeting you describe in your statement that you said in your statement took place on the 20th of November. And let me refer you to paragraph 47. You told the court today that the persons mentioned there, persons 6 and 7, you did not know them, and those names were supplied to you by person number 3. Is that what you told the court today?
Kuna statement mbili.
Answer. There are two statements. One statement, are the words of number 5, and then the words of number 3 in that meeting.
I'm not sure who you're referring to, but there's no reference to person 5 here. But be that as it may, that's not my question. Do you recall telling the court earlier today that you do not know persons number 6 and 7? Do you remember that?
Answer, yes. I said that because the person who knows all those people is person number 3. That's what I said.
I put you, Mr. Witness, that on Thursday, when I was questioning you on the same paragraph, I asked you, did those 2 people tell you what happened at the meeting? Your answer was, yes, but I met one person. I just met one person. Even though several people went by there, I just knew one person. And that is the person who is mentioned on the list, person number 6. So on Thursday, you knew person number 6. Is that correct? While the witness is reading, Your Honor, the reference is real-time transcript 143, page 50, lines 3 to 8. Is that correct, sir? You told us on Thursday you knew person number 6? For the record, it's Wednesday, not Thursday. Mr. Witness, what are you looking at?
Natafuta ile statement ambaye nilisema na
Answer. I'm looking for the statement where I said that I knew number 6. Number 6 was mentioned twice.
Niliponiuliza
Because when Mr. Hooper asked me the question, we talked about number 6.
Yes, you won't find it in your statement. I'm quoting what you said in evidence on Wednesday. Today you said you didn't know number 6. What I'm putting to you is that on Wednesday you said you did know him. So which is correct?
Wednesday hiyo nilisema namjua mtu namba 6.
Answer. On Wednesday, I said that I knew number 6.
Is that true?
Is that true to what? That he said so on Wednesday, or that he knows number 6?
I'll clarify. Is it true that you know person number 6?
Mr. Prosecutor, sijui kama unaweza kunisomea hapo.
Answer. Mr. Prosecutor, I don't know whether you can read that to me because I've said many things. Now you just gave the summary. I don't know. I don't know what your question is.
Witness, the question is this. Look at PIS. The person mentioned at number 6. Can you look at that? All right, looking at it now, forget about what you said on Wednesday or not. For now, we want you to look at number 6 and tell the court whether or not you know number 6.
Ninamfahamu.
Sir, I know him.
Thank you for that. The last topic I want to ask you about. You stated that on the same day that you met with persons 1 and 3 in Eldoret, you accompanied person 3 to an internet cafe where he sent your details by email. Is that right?
Ndivyo.
Answer. That's right.
And was this the only time that you were with person number 3 when he sent an email with your details?
Ndivyo.
Answer, that's right.
And you've been very consistent in your evidence that this meeting took place in October, 3.5 weeks before, at least 3.5 weeks before you met the investigators in location 4, correct?
Kitu ambaye niliongeza tu nimesema ilikuwa imekuwa muda mrefu.
Answer, what I added, I said that it was a long time ago. If I've made a mistake about the dates, please pardon me, but it was in October. You see, what is shown here
Yes, carry on. What is shown where?
Nilikuwa nasema
Answer, I was saying
that was extended to him, given that Mufene was cut down. Is he pushing his luck a bit?
We remember we switched the tape.
Well, perhaps...
Well, let's let him finish this.
Sorry, can you please complete your answer?
nilikuwa nasema hiyo ilikuwa na
Answer, I was saying that where it was the 8th November, when you look carefully at the statement, it was someone who was there and wanted to know what was going on with the report. So I believed that it was in October, and in November he wanted to know whether the report was completed.
Do you agree, however, that when that email was sent in November, you were not present, correct?
email ya pili ikitumwa mimi sikukuepo.
Answer, the second email when it was sent, I wasn't there, but the first in October, I was there. There were 3 of us, number 1, number 3, and me.
So, Mrs. Steinberg, we'll leave it there.
As the court pleases. Thank you, Mr. Witness. No further questions.
A witness, that concludes the examinations of you by the lawyers, and the judges have no questions for you. Counsel, is there any reason not to discharge the witness from his subpoena?
No, from the defence point of view, from Mr. Ruto, no.
Ms. Blasman?
No, Your Honour.
Ms. Steinberg?
From the prosecution's perspective.
We thank you very much for coming and testifying. You are now discharged as a witness in the case, and you're also discharged from your subpoena or summons, as we like to call it. We wish you good luck and safe journey back to where you live. Thank you.
Asante, Mr. President.
The witness, thank you, Your Honor.
The court will now adjourn.
All rise.